Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. Today we are going to discuss with you the topic. That topic is called as the approach to a child with male absorption. So first of all, we are going to discuss with you the definition of the male absorption. The term male absorption referred to condition in which arising from the abnormal form abnormalities in digestion and the absorption means male absorption result from either defect in the intestine due to the digestion or absorption of the both can affect of the male absorption. So this it can result from the defect in any of the three phases: digestion and absorption. So defect can occur in the intraluminal hydrolysis of the nutrient, defect in the mucosa or the mucosal absorption problems. Third is the vascular or lymphatic defect affecting the transport of the nutrition. This is the three phases of the male absorption syndrome. Now, number one is a defect in intraluminal hydrolysis of the nutrients, means intraluminal defect. Number two, mucosal defect in the absorption. And third wet categories, you can say this is the vascular or you can say the lymphatic defect and affecting during the transport. Now, the डिफेक्ट जब हम बात करते हैं डिफेक्ट की तो आइदर इज द डाइजेशन प्रॉब्लम और द एब्जॉर्प्शन प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द न्यूट्रिएंट. कौन से न्यूट्रिएंट? यू कैन से द डिफेक्ट ऑफ द न्यूट्रिएंट्स लाइक कार्बोहाइड्रेट, प्रोटीन्स, मिनरल्स, vitamins. So these are the nutrient on which there is a defect. How the patient can present? They are present with, number one is the abnormal stool. Number two, failure to thrive, means baby is not gaining the weight, or poor growth is the most but not present in the all cases of the male absorption. Third category, that is the called the specific nutrient defects. For example, I will quote here, this is a deficiency of, there is a allergy or defect in the nutrient, means there is a wheat, and this is a specific patient can present with the wheat or the wheat malabsorption, that is called the celiac disease. And they are present either the single sign or the symptoms or combined, means both can present. Now, when we talk about the male absorption, there is a classification of the male absorption. Please, you should remember the male absorption is a different term. And first number you can say the male digestion. For example, the classification of the syndrome. So number one is the maldigestion. What is the maldigestion? Means impaired breakdown of the nutrients to absorb. They are not split, they are not breakdown of the nutrient, and this term is used as a male digestion. Now, second is called male absorption. I was already told you the male absorption is a defect of the mucosa to uptake and transport, both uptake and the transport during the digestion of the nutrient like vitamins and the trace elements, means protein, carbohydrates, fat, and micro and the trace element. This is a defect and this term is used as the malabsorption. Third classification of this syndrome, that is called the malabsorption syndrome. What is this? It is a clinically term. You can use that the defect occur during the digestion and absorption of the food nutrient by gastrointestinal tract, means whole of the GIT can be involved, and that you can say this is the malabsorption syndrome. Now, what is the epidemiology of this malabsorption syndrome? So, malabsorption is a common gastroenterology practice in the tropical countries like Asia, even in Pakistan and India. The good example of this malabsorption is a celiac disease. Celiac is the frequently reported of the cause of the malabsorption syndrome in the children. What is the clinical presentation? I will go for the next slide. And third epidemiology, it was once breakdown in the tropical, that is called the tropical screw in the other countries. So this is the epidemiology of the syndrome. And classification, I was already told you, classification directly or indirectly depend upon the cause. Number one is the malabsorption. Number two is the mucosal abnormality, sometimes bacterial contamination, and you can label as a malabsorption syndrome. So this is the definition of the malabsorption syndrome. Now, what are the causes of this malabsorption syndrome? Number one is the defect or there is a problem during the transport of the nutrient. Once there is a defect or problem in the cholestatic liver diseases, or you can say biliary atresia. Biliary atresia is a congenital anomalies usually present in the pediatric population. If we are not early diagnosis of this biliary atresia, patient can present with the end stage liver diseases. What is the diagnostic tool of this biliary atresia? The gold standard for the diagnosis is the HIDA scan. But what is the treatment management of the biliary atresia is the single, that is the liver transplantation. So regarding the malabsorption syndrome, this is the bile salts are no longer enter into the duodenum, means biliary atresia. So uptake is good, but excretion is a defect. So absorption is a and transport both is labeled as a malabsorption. So this lead to defect in the solubilization of the product of that is the triglyceride is the derivative of the fat, and the fat and fat soluble malabsorption present, and this is condition is called as a patient who's present with malabsorption. There is a liver or the biliary atresia. Now, the second category being the defect or the obstruction of the lymphatic leakage or obstructions. What happens? The chylomicrons are containing the fat absorb or lipid absorb substance. They are unable to reach the thoracic duct and the system circulation, and there is a example of this is the intestinal lymphangiectasia and abnormal lymphatics. The third that is called the exo, not endo, but that is the exocrine pancreatic dysfunction. And the good example of this is the cystic fibrosis. The cystic fibrosis is the autosomal recessive inheritance, and they are present with the abnormal stool, but the most common involvement is the lungs, and the patient can present with the repeated chest infections, and that is the good example of this is the bronchiectasis. What happens in this exocrine pancreatic dysfunction? The absence of lipase. You know the lipase is an enzyme which can digest the lipid. And second, the protease. This is the another example of the enzyme which can digest the protein. And amylase. These are the enzymes which can hydrolyze the lipid and help in the digestion of the lipids when there is a lead to defect of digestion of the triglyceride. Proteins and starch, they are not absorbed, and patient can present with the malabsorption syndrome. The disease of the small intestine, or that is the mucosal diseases, what happens in this loss of the absorption surface area, and this is the good example that is called the celiac disease. Celiac disease is the disease in which there is a problem or their allergy of the gluten. The patient can present with the failure to thrive, distension of abdomen, and repeated diarrhea, because this is the good example of the malabsorption that is called the celiac disease. The specific enzyme defect means lactase. Lactase is the enzyme which can hydrolyze the lactose, and they are present with the abnormal GI problems, and they are present with lactose intolerance. Usually those children who are taking the milk, they are present with the diarrhea, because this is life threatening condition, and that is called the milk allergy, and they are present with the acrodermatitis enteropathica, means oral and the anal dermatitis due to the zinc deficiency also is the examples. And there is a short bowel syndrome. This is the conditions, and this is a very rare present, because this is not congenital, but this is acquired conditions usually present in the adult but rare in the pediatric population. So there is a intestinal recession due to the congenital anomalies, or sometimes necrotizing enterocolitis, leading to this is the deficiency of the micronutrients and the macronutrients, water and electrolyte imbalance, malabsorption syndrome. Now, the loss of the terminal ileus function. This is due to recession of the Crohn's disease, means absent of the bile acids and vitamins, and the patient can present with the vitamin B12 deficiency, and that is called the uh, beriberi. So causes I have already told you. Once again, digestive failure due to the pancreatic insufficiency, bile salt insufficiency, gastrectomy, gastrojejunostomy, fistulas, diverticulitis, short bowel syndrome, and the most good example, that is the mucosal abnormality, that is called the celiac disease. Now, how to evaluate of a baby who's present with the malabsorption syndrome? So before going this, I will discuss with you. Suppose a child who is present with the caloric deficiencies, they are present with the growth failure, loss of the weight, and there is a abnormal appetite. Sometimes the appetite is a good, but some patient can present with the failure to thrive. Now, when there is a loss of fat, patient can present with the vomitus, and they are present with the loose stools, and they are greasy, and sometimes they are foul smelling. When there is a loss of proteins, patient can present with edema, patient can present with the muscle atrophy, and sometimes patient can present with the infections like protein have a ability to produce the immunoglobulin. When patient have a defect in the absorption of the carbohydrate, the patient can present with the abnormal bloating, and they are passes the flatus, frequent history of the passes of the flatus, and they are present with the diarrhea. Now, the failure to thrive present with the deficiency of the vitamin B12 deficiency, macrocytic anemia, sub acute combined degeneration of sometime spinal cord, that the posterior column can be involved, folic acid deficiency, vitamin B12, chiliosis, glossitis, and acrodermatitis enteropathica, micronutrients, and sometimes rickets, tetany, hypocalcemia, and the follicular hyperkeratosis, night blindness due to vitamin A deficiencies, and bleeding diathesis, because sometimes patient cannot absorb the vitamin D, oh sorry, vitamin K, so they are present with this. Now, how to approach a child to diagnose the biliary atresia? So number one, the choice of the investigation. Number one is depend upon guidance of the history and the clinical examination of the baby. What are the questions would you like to ask regarding the history of the failure to thrive, history of the recurrent, persistent diarrhea of this baby, and examination baby's failure to thrive, height, weight, and growth is stunted. So you can advise for the stool regarding for the diagnosis in the helping, because there is a loss of fat, any presence of the stool for reducing substance, means there is a lactose intolerance, and you can advise by the CP, blood CP, you can see the hemoglobin, and you can advise for the any infection. Now, if you think about this baby have a celiac diseases, and this celiac disease you can advise with tissue anti-tissue transglutamine antibody is the screening for the diagnosis of the celiac disease, and anti-indomycin antibodies also you can advise. When you can do this in babies who have a carbohydrate problems, or the baby who is unable to digest the carbohydrate diet, so you can advise for the stool for the reducing substance. Sometimes suppose they are present, so you can advise for the patient to take a diet in which there is a reduce of this uh, carbohydrate free diet. So you can advise for this baby's uh, free diet, carbohydrate free diet. And now hydrogen, breath hydrogen test. This is the other test of babies. Usually we can advise in very rare cases, but this is a typically test performed in children who have a carbohydrate deficiencies. Now, the gold standard for the diagnosis of a baby who is present with the celiac disease. So, diagnosis of the gold standard for the celiac disease is the small bowel biopsy, because this is the gold standard for the diagnosis of this disease. And after the diagnosis, you can put patient on the gluten free diet, because if you are not advising the gluten free diet, patient can develop again. This is the problem. Now, third is the histopathology is the most important. But before we can change the slide, what is the breath hydrogen test? It is the test which usually perform in the carbohydrate malabsorption, such as the lactose intolerance and the bacterial overgrowth. The hydrogen is a product of the bacterial fermentation of unabsorbed carbohydrate in the intestine. The hydrogen products produce goes into the bloodstream and excrete through the lungs. So this test is done or using by the gas chromatography, gas chromatography, and apparatus that we separate compound on the base of the chemical compound. So this is a very difficult test, usually not performed, but you can remember the name of this test. So fate, that is called the investigation of the fate malabsorption, that is called as a fate. See the stool dr in which you can see the fate globules. When there is a fate globules are present, you can say this is the fate malabsorption, and you can advise for the children for the workup for the fate malabsorption. Now the duodenal fluid aspirate is a difficult technique, but you can advise for the bile acid. So this is used for this is now very rare test people are used, that is called D-xylose absorption test. The D-xylose test is the pentose sugar that is not normally found in the blood. But when this D-xylose test is performed, it can be easily absorbed by the healthy intestinal wall and without aid of the pancreatic enzyme, and is a poorly metabolized, so that can least 50% of the dose is excreted in urine within 24 hours. So you can take sample from the urine, and that is called the D-xylose absorption test. This is the test and good for the general screening for function and of the malfunction of the absorption and help in the differentiate intestinal absorption syndrome. And when there is a reduced D-dialose absorption test from the pancreatitis and the normal in the D-xylose absorption test. This is also done in the pediatric age group as well as the adult. In children, they are given 5 gram of the dose of the D-xylose and blood sample is collected 1 hour after the dose is given. So this is a very rare test, but you should remember because this can be used in the absorption of this PT for the prothrombin because this is the fatty liver and there is a abnormal in the liver, so you can advise for the prothrombin. Now because this is the multi-system involvement in the problem in the absorption and the digestion, so there is a several vitamins has been not absorbed, so patient can present with the vitamin A deficiencies like a night blindness, vitamin D deficiency, patient can present with the rickets. So and third, vitamin E is also patient can present with defects. So I'm not going to detail for the vitamin B12 or the intrinsic factors anti pancreas. So I'm not going. So only we can discuss common problems. Now, investigation for the gastrointestinal where there is a loss of protein, so you can advise the alpha 1 antitrypsin deficiencies. So you can advise for a stool for the alpha 1 trypsin. Investigation for the pancreatic exocrine function like sweet chloride test usually done in the patient who is present with the cystic fibrosis. Other test you can advise in the cystic fibrosis is the delta 508 because when you suspect a child who's present with the cystic fibrosis, so you can advise for the test that is called the gluten uh, delta 508 or sweet chloride test. This is the test, you can say this is the hydrogen fecal elastase. This is a very rare test of the children who are present, but a child who is present with the pancreatic endocrine dysfunctions, there is a low grade or chronic auto digestion of the pancreas and patient can present with the cystic fibrosis, infection, inflammations and ultimately you can advise for this is the CFTR protein is a gene for the diagnosis of the cystic fibrosis. So fecal elastase 1, serum trypsinogen, duodenal aspirate for the carbohydrate, trypsinogen and lipase secretion are the gold standard for the diagnosis of the exocrine pancreatic dysfunction. This is the algorithm of the suspicious when patient present with the exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. If you can suspect pancreatic insufficiency, you can advise fecal elastase is one is an enzyme concentration abnormal. When there is abnormal is present, yes or no. If there is a yes, so exocrine pancreatic insufficiency highly probable you can suspect, and there is a normal or unusually stoteria present means patient can passes stool with a fate, and this can assess enzyme supplementation, means you can ascribe for the supplement of the enzyme when there is a no reanalysis. If you are highly suspicious, immediate answer is needed. If there is a yes, refer to gastroenterology center for further evaluation. And if there is a no, long-term observation for the fecal LS stage 1, you can advise annually. Now, what are the investigations for the intestinal mucosal disorder? Means there is a loss of the villus atrophy, means this is a small mucosal biopsy, and duodenal aspirate for the measurement of the pancreatic enzyme concentration, and the intestinal aspiration for the culture to see the bacterial growth. So this is done by the patient who is present with the malabsorption. Now, what are the images and procedures you will perform in a patient who is present with the malabsorption? Number one is the barium study. This is a non-specific, and what are the findings you will appreciate in this X-ray? There is a uh, dilatation and thickening of the mucosal folds. You will appreciate there is a multiple arrow. There is a thick dilatation of the mucosa, and there is a multiple folds. They are present in a child who's present with this, and there is a folliculations, means it is also circulation, means abnormal dilatation of the bowel. Now we are going to talk about the common problem, and that common problem you will see the gluten sensitive enteropathy. This is the interconnected chain disease, because this is the common problem of a baby who is present with the malabsorption. If a baby who is present with the malabsorption, please remember you can think about the celiac disease. What is the celiac disease? This is the gluten sensitive enteropathy. This is the immune mediated disorders. And there is also gluten exposure intolerance. When you start the weaning at the age of 6 or the 8 month of the baby with a celiac rice with containing the wheat, baby can present with the diarrhea. So this is the immune mediated disorders usually present at the age of 6 to 8 months. But please remember celiac can present in the adult age. What happens in the celiac disease? There is an inflammation or injury to the small intestine, and what happens to reduce the absorption of the calcium and iron, vitamin D. Patient can present with rickets, patient can present vitamin A deficiency, patient can present vitamin K dependent factors or be defect, and patient can present with the folic acid deficiencies. So they are present with the bleeding, night blindness, rickets, anemia, and there is a patient can present with the other deficiencies. It is also called the genetic predisposition. If a family history of this is the most important culprit for the diagnosis. When you go for the history, the genetic is also important, have a role. Number two, immunity, means immunogenicity is also important cause, because this is the immune mediated diseases. So what is the cause? Exact cause is don't know, but there are some factors which can triggering or interconnecting to present with the celiac disease. Now, what is the celiac disease? And how you can say this is a general consideration of this is the celiac disease. I was already show you this picture. This is immune mediate enteropathy caused by the permanent, not a transient, this is a permanent sensitivity of the gluten. And this is also genetically defect of the individual person or individual children can be suspected. There are 15% of the population may be affected, but it is occur in high frequency in the children because they are present with the insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. If a baby is who is present with the insulin diabetes mellitus should be work up for the celiac diseases. If a baby is a Down syndrome is a genetically disorder, and other name is the trisomy 21, and it is defect in the translocation. So this is a disease usually occur in the mother who are the older age. So Down syndrome risk is increase in the short age and the long age. The baby can present with the dysmorphic features, but you think about this can be associated with the celiac disease. So in these children, those who are the diabetic insulin diabetes mellitus and the Down syndrome, you can advise for the celiac workup. Now, Turner syndrome usually occur in the female, and this is the XO45. This is a genetically disorders, and usually these female have a short stature, and they are associated with this problem like a celiac disease. Williams syndrome is also abnormal syndrome usually present with the hypocalcemia and the cardiac problems, and they are further in a further evaluation for the celiac disease. Thyroiditis is an autoimmune disorders usually present, but you if a patient who is present with the autoimmune thyroiditis, please remember you should advise for the workup of the celiac disease. Now the patients who are present with selective A deficiency or selective immunodeficiencies, they are present with the celiac disease. So you should remember what is the association of the celiac disease with other diseases, and you should remember high frequency of the celiac occur with the Down, Turner and the insulin. Now what is the pathology? When you see the pathological picture of this celiac disease, there is a activation of the T helper and CD4. This is the gluten sensitive T cells. When there is an inflammation and result into the atrophy, that is called the villus atrophy, there is a hyperplasia of the histopathological crypts and damage to the surface of the epithelia. There will be a decrease in digestion and the absorption capacity of the bowel, in which there is the pancreatic secretion also decrease, and they can cause the decrease cholecystokinin enzyme and secretin. These are the enzymes which help and hydrolysis for the diagnosis of the celiac. Now this is the classical picture of the baby who are present with this celiac disease. You can will appreciate this picture. There's a protuberance of the abdomen, means abdomen is distended. Number one. Number two, baby have a loss of the buttock, that is called the wasting of the buttock muscles. If you see distension of the abdomen, and you will also appreciate there is a short stature of this baby have a frontal bossing due to the deficiency of the vitamin D. So this is the classical presentation of the celiac, but the major known absorption, that is called the malabsorption syndrome. So you will appreciate distension of abdomen and wasting of the muscle. Now this is the growth chart of failure to thrive. When you respond with a gluten free diet, जब आप फ्री ग्लूटेन फ्री डाइट देते हैं, you will appreciate कर go. Initially there is jejunal biopsy, and if you look here, there is an increased height of the baby when there is a curve go to the upside. What are the clinical features you will appreciate when child can present with the male absorption? But please remember, the male absorption is a variable, not classical same symptom, but it a variable. So number one is the classical presentation. Like I was already told you, the male absorption syndrome usually occur at the age of 4 to 8 to 24 months after the introduce of the wheat containing weaning of the food. This is the classical presentation of a baby who are present with the celiac or the celiac disease. But please remember, celiac can be present in the adult. It is also is a silent disease. They can present with simple anemia in the adult age. In pediatric population, you will appreciate they are present with the failure to thrive. Always mother यही complain करते, बच्चे का वजन नहीं बढ़ रहा, बच्चे की height नहीं बढ़ रही, बच्चा failure to thrive है. Please remember, you can think about the disease that is called the growth failure, and celiac should be ruled out. Now abdominal distension, abdominal, there is a lot of causes. ये नहीं है एक cause आपको मिलता है कि abdominal distension है तो आप दूर से कहेंगे ये celiac है, but you can palpate the abdomen. Sometimes patient can present with the hepatosplenomegaly, but the example of the abdominal distension also present in the celiac disease. Muscle wasting usually can be present in the male absorption, but can also be occur other causes. So you should remember. Now the clinical features, that is called the irritability. There is a list of the causes of the irritability, but one cause of the irritability is called as the celiac. Now abdominal pain, sometimes they are present with the abdominal pain, but there is not a classical feature of the abdominal pain can present with the celiac disease. But you should remember, now what are the characteristic of the stool are the loose, they are pale, and there is a foul smelling. Many adolescent or young adult have a weight loss or recurrent diarrhea. So you can think about the celiac disease. These patients can present with the fatigueness, abdominal pain, bloating, anemia. When you examine the hands, they are present with the clubbing. You will appreciate in the upper picture there's a normal angle of the nail bed. Now if you look the down picture, you will appreciate there is a distorted angle of this nail bed, and in the third you will appreciate there is a clubbing of the baby. Clubbing present means there is a chronic problem of a baby, and they are present with the male absorption. So active child celiac disease, this is a classical presentation. How many numbers they are present? So please remember, failure to thrive or the growth failure, 30% of the patient can present with the growth failure. Diarrhea, persistent diarrhea, not acute diarrhea, you can say chronic diarrhea, or you can term use as a persistent diarrhea. They are present with the 30%. And the irritability, there are a lot of causes of the irritability in the celiac disease, but one is the loss of the micro and the macronutrient. So patient can present with irritability. Vomiting 24%, anorexia, loss of the appetite is 24%, foul stool, bad smell in the stools in 21%, abdominal pain is rare. Sometimes you will see the patient, they have excess appetites, good appetite, but they are not gaining weight because there is a problem of the muscles. So patient have a diarrhea, there is a loose stool, so they can cause the rectal prolapse. Rectal prolapse means frequency of the stools, so they are present. Now when you check the sign, if you look here, the height, because this is the chronic problem of the baby, so the height is below the 25 percentile. Body weight is less than 25th centile. And if you look here, the wasting of the muscles. What are the muscles? Usually the buttock muscles are involved. And if you look here, the 40%, even in the 42 cases, only 40% they have a muscle wasting. Abdominal distension usually present in the 33%, and they are present edema, because edema is a dependent part and they are present with the pitting type edema due to there is a loss of water and electrolytes. And also the common reason of this edema is the protein deficiency. And I will show you the previous slide. There's a finger clubbing. Clubbing is the very rare but present in the chronic cause of the celiac disease, is a chronic problem. So if you look here, we can study of the 42 cases, you will see the 40% they are present with the muscle wasted, and 36% they are present with the failure to thrive. So if a baby who is present in the ER with failure to thrive, and they are present with the wasting, diarrhea, think about the celiac disease. Now, these are the investigations when you think about a child who's present with the celiac. This is the screening test. You can say anti-indomycin antibody, IgA antibodies, and anti-tissue transglutamine, IgA antibodies. These are the screening. If you have a doubt, you can advise. What is the gold standard for the diagnosis of the celiac disease is the Willis biopsy. That is called the intestinal biopsy, is the gold standard for the diagnosis of celiac disease. What happens in the biopsy? When you see the biopsy, there is a partial or the total loss of the villus. That is called the atrophy of the villus, because the absorption of the water and electrolytes occur in the villus. And there is an elongation. Elongated means increased size of the crepes, and there is a decreased villus and crepes ratio. When you see the ratio, people are doing the pathologist ratio, there is decreased villus and crepes ratio. When you see there is an increased number of the intraepithelial lymphocyte, this is the classical differentiate histopathological or the biopsy of the celiac disease. Decrease height of the epithelial cells and the loss of the nucleopolarity. So when you see, this is the histological picture or histological reports of this biopsy, you suspect this is a celiac disease. But malabsorption also occur in the lactose intolerance, giardiasis, tropical sprue, and they are present with, there is a loss of the villus atrophy, there is a loss of the number of the epithelial cells, but there is a increase intra epithelial cell lymphocyte is the classical presentation of the celiac disease. So this is the biopsy. You should remember what are the biopsy findings of the celiac disease. So you can say total are the partial villus atrophy, elongation of the crepes, decrease villus and the crepe ratio, and increase number of intraepithelial lymphocytes and decrease height and epithelial cells of the nuclear polarity. This is the iceberg of the celiac disease. I was already told you celiac disease can present with the clinically celiac disease usually present with the mucosal lesions. Now, when you see the silent disease, they are present defect in the family DR3 or DQ2. This is the genetical disorders. Celiac disease present in latency means older age, and celiac can be present but patient can be normal. There is a normal mucosal morphology, so you will never find these patients have a celiac but can present celiac disease in this patient. Now this is the histological picture. You will see histology of the jejunal biopsy. Gold standard for the biopsy is the jejunal biopsy, because not small intestine is a large. There are three parts: jejunum, ileum, and the duodenum. But the gold standard for the diagnosis of celiac is the jejunal biopsy. And if you see, there is a lymphatic infiltration and there is a loss of villus atrophy confirming the diagnosis of the celiac. But in the see in the right side, you will there is a presence of the villus histopathologically as compared to this. There is a loss of the villus. Villus means there is a tip of the villus of the R losses. So how will you manage? Please remember the gold standard for the management of the celiac disease is the product which should be avoided or free diet. Number one is the product containing wheat. They are wheat, raw, barley should be removed from the diet. And you can advise by the gluten free diet for the lifetime, not a 1 month, 2 month, but you can give the lifetime. This is the management, and that is called the specific management. But you can advise for the treatment of the vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin K, even in the micro and the macronutrition is the should be given, but this is a supportive management. What is the specific management of the celiac disease is called as a gluten-free diet. How will you monitor? This is the gold standard for the monitoring of this baby is called as the physical and the psychology, because these children are psychological problem because they have stunted growth, they are failure to thrive, repeated chest and repeated diarrhea, so they have multiple infections, so they are going to psychological problems. So you can check physical and psychological stimulation. Now you should not do the anti-tissue transglutamine antibodies monthly, but you can advise by tissue transglutamine antibodies yearly, not monthly, because this can be cost effective. Now, what is the prognosis? People are asking questions usually. What is the prognosis of the celiac disease? Prognosis of the celiac disease is the good. There is an improvement in the mood, appetite, decreased diarrhea, and no long-term complication of the gluten diet. So this is the not complications. So this is the patient can, there is a no long-term complication, but there is a risk of this baby can present in the long term. They are suffering from the, people are asking which is the risk of the cancer in the patient who are present with the celiac. So the risk of this baby can present as a lymphoma. So lymphoma is a risk factor of the children who are present with this celiac disease. Otherwise, there is a no any other complication of the celiac disease. If you have any query or you have any questions regarding the male absorption or celiac disease, so you can ask me. Thank you very much for your attention and God bless you. Thank you.